I'm Deborah Ballard-Reich, and I'm also delighted to be here. I got into the food space in kind of an odd way. How many of you are familiar with New Manna out of El Dorado? Well, in 2009, a vision that Rick McNary had to help people, empower people to feed the starving, started to come to fruition. And I had some friends who contacted me and said, wow, these people have never written press releases. They're trying to do articles for newspapers. Would you mind looking at their stuff? And I got hooked on Rick's vision. And his vision had to do with feeding school children. The idea being based on some work that George McGovern and Bob Dole had done that argued that the best way to fight poverty was to educate kids. And the best way to feed hungry people was to feed hungry kids in school. And that way you kind of got double bang for your buck. Well, the last weekend of 2009, New Manna held their first food packaging event in El Dorado, Kansas. And I, my daughter, her youth group, 8 of my grad students, because I take them everywhere, and a bunch of my friends went, and we were part of the 4,000 people who that weekend packaged 285,000 meals that were going to be trucked across the country and then boated to Haiti to go to Salvation Army schools and feed kids. Well, as you all know, January 12th, 2010, something else happened. The earthquake hit Haiti. And our food became some of the first food to reach Haiti. It was actually airlifted in by the United States Army. And I was hooked. Rick called me and said, so do you think WSU can do a million meal event? And I went, well, I don't know. So I called the president and the provost and I said, hey, can we do this? And within a half hour, not only were we doing it, I was running it. Be careful of the questions that you ask. I went back to my building and I grabbed Elliott Hall right across the way. I grabbed my grad students and I said, I think I may have just lost my mind. I'm jumping off a really big cliff and I would like you to come with me. And to their benefit, all of them said yes. And within 3 weeks, we planned WSU Feeds Haiti. Over 3,000 people came to the Hughes Metroplex and packaged over 641,000 meals. I was jazzed. Don't do that on Super Bowl weekend, though. There was a logic problem in my thinking there, but that's what I tried. And then that spring, we had the first Kansas Hunger Dialogue, and New Manna and Universities Fighting World Hunger came together and thought, let's bring the universities in Kansas together. We've already got this wonderful grassroots, community-based stuff happening. What if we got the colleges and universities involved? And at that summit, one of the questions that arose was about hunger on campus. And, you know, we've all heard the myth of the starving college student and all of that. Well, we didn't have any data, and we couldn't find any data to indicate if that was actually accurate or not. So for the last 2 years, I've been chairing an initiative that started in a health communication course that I taught on hunger to raise awareness about hunger on our campus and also to unpack the nature and scope of hunger on our campus. And through those last 2 years, we've developed an amazing 4-pillar model that we've presented at international, national, regional conferences that we've taken on the road to various colleges and universities that involve collaborators, media, academic research, and events. And we've learned a lot. And one of the things that I learned that I didn't expect, because sometimes we don't see what's right in front of our faces, is that there is a problem with hunger on campuses. There is a problem with hunger for college students. One quick side note, we did a food drive for the Kansas Food Bank this last October, and our goal was to collect 5,000 pounds of food campus-wide in 2 weeks. And that seemed to be reasonable, and I started to notice this really odd thing. I would leave my building at night, and at night, the bin in front of our office would be about 3/4 of the way full. And I would come back the next morning, and it would be about 1/4 of the way full. And then the dorms would call us and say, come and pick up the food, the bins are overflowing. And we would get there to pick up the food, and the bins would be about half full. And it took us 3 weeks, forest for the trees, to realize what was happening is that hungry students, hungry staff were taking food out of the Kansas Food Bank bins. So I'm still learning, and I'm learning to see the trees in front of my face. But my take on food deserts at the moment has to do with issues that impact students and staff members on campuses' abilities to have access to healthy food.